Throughout our history, Mexican generations have been growing up around the history and cultural heritage of our ancestors. We are known all around the world because of our specific and quite unusual customs and traditions. All Mexicans, when they were kids, got to know a very important toy that represents many childhoods in our country. It was the hit of our parents' generations. This toy was called a spinning top or trompo. It has the form of a cone and it has a spike at the top of it that make it spin for a long time with the help of a little string that makes all the physics happen. We don't really know when was the first time this was created, but historians record evidence of this toy around 4000 before Christ. Instead, we do know this got to be really important to all Mexican generations, and it is highly relevant in Mexican heritage.
The first records of the trompo date back to the year 4000 before Christ. These specimens are made of clay and were found in the banks of the Euphrates River. But the details of the origin and creation of the trompo are really uncertain. Nobody knows exactly. Now, going back to the Mexican history, workshops and factories dedicated to the toy industry began its modernization in the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century, creating trompos made of various types of woods so that they would be more resistant to the blows of their adversaries as children gathered together to play against each other. In the year 1963, the first plastic spinning tops or trompos made of plastics were introduced into the market under the Plastic Marks label, with a lot of publicity in TV shows, and then became so popular that started distributing around all the world. Now, the most modern models of trompos are made with plastic, iron, polished designs. They have neoprene edges, systems that prevent the trompos from rolling up, and also it is possible to find trompos that have lights and others that produce musical sounds while spinning.
Now that we know a little bit more about the history of the spinning top, I'm going to talk to you about its main features. In terms of the toy itself, the two main features of this traditional toy are a string and a cone-shaped body with a pointed tip. The role of the string is to get it wrapped around the top of the body of the spinning top, and then throwing and pulling the toy in a way that makes it spin on a surface. Now, in terms of its design, well, there is a variety of designs for this toy. The most traditional ones are made out of wood and are marked by linear colorful patterns, and the more modern ones are made out of plastic and are usually much easier to use.
Regarding the promotion and conservation of the item, it is a very ancient element of Mexican cultural history and one that has a lot of potential for preservation efforts. Regarding the utilization of the trompo, it should be easily doable for parents to pass this cultural heritage to the next generations by the means of play, as children can play with it from a very young age. And in this way, the object will be remembered as a warm part of their yav, and they will be eager to pass it on to their children in the same way. And a better promotion of enjoyment of this element than by means of play is not possible. And raising awareness among people on why this toy is part of cultural heritage, and that will make the Mexican population better understand the meaning and value of the trompo, and thus it will encourage appreciation and efforts of preservation. Knowledge is key, as the object has to be regarded in its cultural value and not only in its enjoyment of playing with it, because nowadays there's a plenitude of toy options for kids, but parents understanding the value of the trompo to their existence as Mexican citizens will be much more likely to make their children play with it and thus pass it on to next generations. And this is the perfect way to promote both the conservation and enjoyment of the trompo through a method of citizen engagement. And regarding the preservation of the craftsmanship behind the production of the trompo, and this is done by highly specialized craftsmen, And appreciation of these craftsmen will prevent people from making the ignorant choice, as appreciation is achieved by awareness and knowledge, and this can be achieved by education and promotion campaigns, for example by the Mexican government, and in this way people will consider the threat cheap and copied version of the trompo posed to the people making a living of making trompos as their craftsmanships, and one will then most probably choose the right option with the cultural heritage argument in mind, even if this costs a little bit more money than the cheap option.